Hello, everybody, and welcome to this brand new episode of Music to Live for with Shanti. I'm your host, Shanti Papalini, and today I'm here with Tamer Kattan, an American stand up comedian living right now in Berlin. And together we're going to talk about stand up comedy and music. Let's go!
Check this out. Music to live for with Shanti.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this brand new episode of Music to Live for with Shanti. I'm your host, Shanti Papalini, and today I'm here with Tamer Kattan. Hi, my friends, how you doing?
Hey Shanti, how are you, man?
Oh, fine. It's a strange August here in Switzerland because it seems a little bit already like autumn, but
Yeah,
we are still in summer, so the sun it's hitting hard. But it's
yeah.
a good life. I can't complain. I can't complain. What
That's
about you, man?
good. That's good. Yeah, no, same. I'm an Egyptian that grew up in LA, so I'm practically half a lizard. So like I'm to get used to this like Northern European weather is different, but I like it. It's good for writing, I think.
Yeah, I got it. I get it. I grew up in the south of Switzerland where people go on holidays. German people, Swiss German people go there on holidays. So it's
Yeah,
warm weather. In summer, you really notice the vibes. But then I
yeah.
moved to Basel while I was studying musicology, and now I live here. And it seems that Basel in the north, really on the opposite of where I grew up. It's
Yeah.
one of the most warm places in Switzerland. So, I guess
Wow.
I had to go to come here. Yeah, man.
You're telling an Egyptian about the warmest place in Switzerland, right? Like I'm like, is it warm,
Is it
Shanti?
more really?
Is it
Really?
really? I'm
Really?
like, please, come on.
Yeah, that's right. Man, I let you introduce yourself for the audience so everybody will know who you are.
Okay. I can say anything. My name is Tamer Kattan. I'm the president of Venus, the planet. I can just make shit up. No, I'm a comedian, and a comedy writer and an actor. I started in Los Angeles, but most of my career was in New York, and now I'm very happily based in Berlin. But Europe is where I tour
All right. All right.
mostly. Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling you before when we started the episode how I met you. Like it was really a random thing. I was invited in Berlin to talk on a conference
Oh,
about
cool.
classical music, and that
Wow.
evening my partner at the time, she invited me to hanging out with some friends, and then they say, "Oh, we found out there is a place around the corner. They're doing stand-up comedy and there is pizza." And two things that I love.
That's
I mean,
great.
stand-up comedy in Berlin, of course, and because I come from a small reality, so Berlin is still one of the most influential city in Europe, and then pizza. I have to be honest, the pizza was shit. I'm sorry,
Of course it
guys.
was shit. Come
It
on.
was shit, but the comedy was the hype, and you were there. You did your set, and I laughed so hard because I guess I connect with your kind of humor a lot. There was other guys even doing their stand up, and kudos to them because I know it's not easy to go on a stage, different kind of audience and stuff like
Sure.
that. So I won't say this with no disrespect at all, but I didn't connect with them. I understood what was the goal, and I think like in everything, practice give you then the experience. But your set just made me laugh a lot, man. And
Oh,
then
thanks.
I remember I guess
You've
already
got great taste.
your yeah, thank you. But I already yours. I love your style, and then I follow you on Instagram, and then I saw, oh, you also have a lot of T-shirt or connection with the music I also love, and I thought this person is somebody I definitely need to have on my podcast because I
Right
never had
on.
somebody doing like being a comedian or doing more. I have some actors or opera singers, but it felt something even in that direction. So I think this kind of
Right on.
just right. And but yeah, that's the way I got into. I had the chance to see you performing, and I'm very curious. I saw that on Instagram. You also I saw some sketches, and you talk a lot about from where you come from during your shows, and it's very fascinating. I love your story. I'm adopted. I mean, I left India when I was a baby, so I can say that I lived the India as a person, but it's still with me. But and I always love this hearing these stories of people coming from a certain area of the world and
Yeah.
having life experiences. And so I'm very because you say you were born in Egypt or you were born in the States.
Yeah. I was born in Egypt, and I was there from birth until like 5, 6 years old. And then it was a very difficult thing because, you know, it's, I think people don't realize what a heroic thing it is to be an immigrant.
Hmm.
Like to leave your family behind, your culture behind, all your friends, everything you know, go to another country where everything is new. Like sometimes you don't speak the language, you don't know the culture, you don't know the level of prejudice or racism or how hard it is to get a job or whatever. And my family did that in like when I was very young, and my dad had to come first because we didn't want to take a risk.
Hmm.
So my dad came first and lived in America alone for a year to save money.
Yeah.
And back then there was no FaceTime, no Zoom. Like
Hmm.
I just lost my father. Oh, and the only way we could communicate was over letters. Like my mom used to put my hand on the table and trace my hand so my dad could see how much I'm growing.
Okay.
Like,
Oh my God. Yeah, that's
isn't
so.
that crazy? It's
Yeah.
like such a vivid memory for me. And so I hate these politicians that like politicize what it means to be an immigrant instead of all of us being like, wow, these people are badass,
All right.
because
Yes.
every country's founding fathers did what immigrants did. Those were the most brave people. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
I see it.
So I was born in Egypt. I left when I was 6, but I remember Egypt in kind of a weird way. Like a lot of times when people remember their childhood, they remember a smaller version of themselves. For me, I feel like I'm a butterfly and I remember when I was a caterpillar. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
I got it.
Like
Yeah.
I look like a different species. I ate different food. I spoke a different language. So I was a different person. It's almost like this is my second life in
Hmm.
America. Maybe now it's my third in Berlin. And I'm turning into maybe the butterfly now turns into a crow because Berlin's really into black and darkness. So yeah, maybe I'll be a raven in the next life. But yeah, it was a wild experience, and I think it was probably the most important catalyst to like the way I think, the job I pick, the music I listen to,
Hmm.
the people I work with is probably all came from that
Yeah.
immigrant experience.
I get that because the region where I come from, I grew up in the south of Switzerland in a small town called Locarno. Is really in a beautiful side of Switzerland, on the lake that goes to Italy. It's
Uh,
very nice place. But the mentality is, it's. I like to make this joke saying I'm kind of come from the region where they are the redneck of Switzerland because people are really living with this kind of values, religions,
yeah.
marriage, families, and everything like that. And the problem is that even there was a lot of people coming from Italy to work there or from Poland to build roads and everything, and everybody just have like still have a lot of prejudice of these people, like everything for them is here, it's for
Sure,
free
sure.
and stuff like that. And I
It's
and
by
I recognize
design.
this a lot.
Yeah. I used to be angry at the racists. I'm not anymore.
Hmm.
I don't even get mad at them. I'm like, oh, okay, it's like getting mad at somebody for having autism. It's like it's a dysfunction, and there's a lot of people that are trying to make them racist. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like I told this to one of my friends the other day. I go, imagine you live in a home and there's a homeowners association that sets up the rules,
Yeah.
right? And then some people move into your neighborhood and they start acting differently than you. And you're like, wait a minute, why are they noisy past 11? Wait a minute, why do they hang their clothes on the balcony? Why do they do this? They're doing things that bugs me.
Hmm.
Well, then the homeowners association is the one that sets up rules. If those new neighbors didn't break any rules, then you can't get mad at them. And if you don't like the rules, then you can vote together to decide what are the new rules of the homeowners association, and
Yeah.
then give them time to adjust or decide they don't want to live there. But you don't decide that they have to leave. It's the homeowners association that does. And
Yeah.
that to me, homeowners association is the government.
Yeah.
But if there's a bunch of people that are in a country illegally, or they're criminals, or they're bad people or whatever, it's it's the rules that let them in
Hmm.
that are the problem.
Yeah.
So get mad at the homeowners association. Don't get mad at your neighbors.
This is a message that sometimes I try also to bring to people around me, because I noticed that some people just didn't have this live experience. So
Yeah.
it's not they don't want to see it, just they don't understand it because they never had it on in real life.
Yeah.
So this is.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. And I think we're asking too much for racist people. Like
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, stop being racist." I'm like, "You know what? I know you like it. I know what makes you feel good. You want to be racist? You can be racist, but just do it on the inside. You
Yeah.
don't have to tell me. You
Yeah.
just keep away from me. Do mind your own business, mind your own life, and I'll do the same. But you don't get to hire people that way, and you don't get
Yeah.
to hire people that way. You can keep your racism, just keep it on the inside. It's
Yeah.
super easy. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Even in restaurants, we should have a racist section and a non-racist section,
This could
right?
be
Just
crazy.
like smoking, but you don't get to eat ethnic food. I get to eat whatever I want, and you got to eat British food.
Yeah, right. That's gonna be
That's
like that would be like the biggest tragedy because like op eyes opening experience 100% because
right.
some people just don't connect that. And growing up in you grew up in LA, right?
You mostly, yeah.
Mostly. And
Till high school. Yeah.
was it hard for you? Like because I know that America is a melting pot of cultures in the end,
Yeah.
and I was fascinating from a documentary about one of these greatest artists. They're doing all this Chicano style and lettering and stuff like that. They collaborate with Cypress Hill a lot. And
Oh, Mr. Cartoon?
Mr. Cartoon, yeah, thank you
Yeah, the
very much.
tattoo artist.
Yeah, and he
Yeah,
was telling that he was I guess he was like a dishwasher in a China restaurant,
that's right.
and oh my God, I did say something wrong. An Asian restaurant, and
Oh, Chinese. That's
I don't
right.
think there was race. No, no, it's just that, and then he got this idea of starting painting from their culture and he
Yeah.
brought this in the Chicano one, so mixing with the
Beautiful.
Mexican one. And it is this process is so fascinating to me when I heard that because you really see how one thing brings to another, and then it goes into tattoos, and into the lowriders, into music, and that's amazing. But what's your experience there?
In LA?
Yeah.
I mean, I was really lucky. I told my friends a lot of times that I moved into an area that was kind of a rough area, an area that people called a gang
Hmm.
area. And this is during the Bloods and the Crips back
Okay.
in the day. But, so all my friends, and according to everything you see in the news and everything you've heard about in pop culture, I probably had a very scary experience, right? But in actuality, Mexicans were immigrants too, and they were super kind and accepted me more than my own people did.
Okay.
Like when Egyptians meet an Egyptian American, they're like, "You're not one of us anymore." Same with Turkish people in Turkey and Turks in Germany. When you go to Turkey and Istanbul, they make fun of Turkish people in Berlin so bad.
All
They're like,
right.
they're nothing like us. They're not like it's crazy. So for me to feel accepted by the Mexican culture is something I'll never forget. I feel like they helped me at the time when I most needed to feel like I had a family. And
Hmm.
so that's why I feel like everything I do from the clothes I wear to the jokes I tell is kind of like a thank you to like how kind they were to me.
Yeah.
Like it made me realize like community has nothing to do with geography. Like culture is a very tiny part of who we are, like as
Hmm.
people. Like, like the one time I was in America and a guy yelled out, "God bless America" during my comedy show. And I'm like, good? What are you trying to say? He's, I just want to make sure you love America. And I go, of course I love America. But do you want to know something? You know what God would say if he was here and heard you say God bless America? He'd say, "What's America?"
Hmm.
God didn't make countries. War makes countries.
Yeah.
Wars. That's it. So like no your bullshit fake lines like mean nothing to me.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like the Mexicans treated me like I was family, so I felt like I was family.
You know, it's very interesting because two things that you already told happens to me. Like I was
Wow.
skateboarding here in Basel, and I always liked and admire and imitate this Chicano look like Dickies,
Yeah.
shirts or white t-shirts and everything. And I remember skateboarding and some guys that just starting to talk to me like this, and then we ended up, we are from Mexico, but now we are married here with Swiss women,
Right
and we're
on.
living here, we're family here. And they start talking to me like, "Oh, but you look like a Mexican." And I remember this guy look at me and tell me, and I told him, I don't want to because it was this period where people started talking about cultural appropriation even more. So I was say, I don't want to mock anything. It's just that I'm really fascinating, even for your
Sure.
histories. And the
Yeah.
guys look at me seriously, man, I think you in another life you were a Mexican. Look at they say,
That's
all right.
beautiful.
And
That's
now
so
I'm working a taco place. Cause
no
this
way.
connection. Yeah,
You
yeah. I
really?
got this side job. Yeah, I love it. I'm learning cooking Spanish.
That's
I
amazing.
improving my Spanish and everything. So I can tell you, even from my perspective, I had such amazing experience with Mexican people
Yeah.
because they're really, really. I'm part of a family right now. It's amazing. And I remember also while I was a student, there was this guy. Uh, Belonging to the student association, but from those were speaking Italian. So we were like a minority here in Swiss German part. And
Mhm.
we are on the train. He knew that I had some tattoos, and he comes to me like, and he said, I want to tattoo myself, um, Mother Helvetia. That it's the let's say the iconography of our country of Switzerland is this lady with a shield and it really you got it on the coins and everything and I said, oh yeah, that's cool, where do you want to do that? And then while we were talking about that, he say, but you are Swiss, right? I say, um, yeah, I grew up here, but I was born in India. And I say, yeah, yeah, but now you are Swiss. And I say, yeah, but what does it mean? Because if I look myself in the mirror, I see an Indian person, and of course I'm blessed to have the chance to grow up here. No shit about that, but that things that about many people ask about where you are is or like for which team are you
Yeah,
playing or like
exactly.
being a fan. I don't
Bullshit.
really get it. I think it's always interesting to know that somebody has a different life experience coming from different cultures. It's the amazing thing, and it's just a plus. But
Yeah. It's a
jumping on
big,
on the stand up topic,
Mhm.
something that I really enjoy of stand up comedy is that there is, I don't know if we can call it black humor, because I don't know if it's still a term, but yeah, just being sarcastic or being really or being even straight on some jokes on
Mhm.
topics that people normally wouldn't say openly or stuff like that. And I think that it's good because in my opinion, if people would like make more dark humor jokes, maybe there will be even less racism or less
Of course,
violence,
of course.
because saying that you are able to say this, but then you realize, thinking about the joke, also you realize, hey,
Yeah,
why people keep saying this about those people like this, and you see the reaction. You got to meet another way to interact to people, and I think I really enjoy that. Of course, there is limits because some people don't understand that freedom of speech doesn't mean say whatever you want. But yeah, I think this is really interested in your opinion, because I think that many sketches on YouTube or Instagram just maybe cut really that part where the joke is really picking, something. And
yeah,
if you have the right mindset, you have a big laugh and you go. If not, if you read the comments, a lot of people just got just upset. And
yeah. And that's okay. They can.
yeah,
Because it's if you think about it, like uh I think you're exactly right. That comedy talking about things helps fix the problem. I mean, if you think about it in polite society, what do they always say when you go to dinner? Don't talk about politics, don't talk about religion, and don't talk about, I think, sex is the third one or something like that. And what are the biggest problems in society? It's all the stuff that they tell us not to talk about.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then the other thing is they twist it. I was at a show one time, I made this joke, and this girl goes, "Oh, that's dark." And I'm like, wait a minute, is it dark? And she goes, "What do you mean?" I go, if I'm talking about it, that means I'm putting light on it
Hmm.
so that you notice it. If you don't want to talk about it, that means you want to turn off the light. That means you're dark. I'm light.
Hmm.
Anything dark jokes are should actually be called light jokes,
Hmm.
not dark jokes. We turn on the light so we can let's talk about it. Let's talk about how we feel. And that's I think you're right. There's a lot of different kinds of comedy, but I look at comedy like a dartboard. And the bullseye of comedy is to take away fear, anxiety, tension. Tension and release of tension is the purpose of comedy. And so for that reason, I think we could make jokes. Not only do I think can we make jokes about everything, I think we have to make
Hmm.
jokes about everything that hurts,
Yeah.
everything that hurts, everything that's confusing. Life is hard enough. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
right. Mm.
we're on an airplane that somebody said, if we're lucky, is going to crash into the ground in 80 years. That's the reality. We're all on that plane together right now, and all of our movies are going to end sad.
Hmm.
We're all going to end up either in a hospital bed or an accident or a disease. It's all a sad story. So if we're all on this plane that's about to crash into a wall and we know there's no way out,
Hmm.
as a comedian, I feel like my job is I'm walking around telling people jokes. Let's laugh until the crash.
Yeah, I
And
love that. I love this state of mind because in the end, and I know that sometimes I notice how when I'm with other people that maybe are just job colleagues or stuff like that, and I makes one of my jokes about maybe the kind of joke like that's what she said, like they come
yeah,
spontaneously like this because you in your mind you connect these words or the situation, and I see that people or just don't get it
yeah,
or they look at you like a little bit strange because they think it's too much. But
yeah.
one thing that I noticed because for
That's
me,
okay too.
oh yeah,
Like a lot of people, a lot of comedians now are saying, "Oh, you can't make jokes about this and you can't make jokes about that," and everybody's so woke. And I'm like, "Yeah, you can. You maybe the audience isn't more sensitive. Maybe you are
hmm,
as a comedian because comedians in the past knew not everybody's going to like me, and that's okay. But now they email us. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And that's a bummer. But the reality is, people in the past, like George Carlin, was getting arrested for saying bad words.
hmm,
And so we're not getting arrested. There's just people. Well, I mean, I guess we could in places like Germany. You can be kicked out of the country if you say something that's anti-Semitic, for example.
hmm, hmm,
But for the most part, we're not getting arrested. You can make the jokes that you want to make. You have that freedom, and if people don't like you, that's okay. You
hmm.
just, you just move on.
Yeah, I remember watching I mean, I watch all the shows of Dave Chappelle because for me, he's one of my favorite
100%.
comedian ever. And I remember because I watched one specifically because I read before all the critics about some jokes about gay people, and I was
Yeah,
curious to understand what it was.
yeah,
And then I watched the whole show and I got the punchline and then I just saw how good his show was built, his set was built because of course, he really goes in one way, he makes the joke, and then he kind of jump to something else, and then he come back, and you understand the joke after a while, or like where we are going with this, and
yes,
and and I think that many people before ask themselves why this topic left me with something, they kind of go directly to the comedian and say they want the explanation for them
yeah,
why that joke left them with this kind of emotion, could be happiness, sadness, or irritated like this, when maybe they should like make use this opportunity to work on themselves and what their ideals are or ideas or like this, and don't remember that it's a joke, it's the context. And
yeah,
something that is scary to me is seeing like not starting from America but now going a little bit everywhere in the world, that politicians are kind of comedian in some ways, and it's kind of accepted from
yeah.
from from the from people that
Yeah,
oh yeah, you can go out, you can get away with more with that, even because you're political, you're making jokes, but you're not a stand-up comedian, you are a politician.
not a
You got
comedian.
another
Yeah.
way, but there is this kind of mixing of things that I think it can be confusing
Well,
sometimes.
the words don't matter, the energy does. You
Hmm.
know, that's why when you know, you could see things like Elon Musk where he's like, "Oh no, that wasn't a Nazi salute." And I'm like, "It's not even about." And they're like, "Let's look at the picture and let's look at the angle."
Mm,
I'm like, "Fuck all that. Let's look at the energy."
yeah, right.
To me, it wasn't about the arm. It was the way he bit his lip, like,
Yeah, right, he put it
hateful
out, really,
face.
yeah.
That was a hateful face. I'm not looking at the arm. I don't care if it looks like a Nazi salute or not. It was the face he made when he did that movement. It's the energy. That's what matters. I say the worst things I've ever said to anyone are to my friends, but the energy is
Hmm.
funny.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But like that's the worst thing I think I've ever said to anyone else energetically was nothing.
Hmm.
That that the worst energy I can send to anyone is someone that makes me so mad, I don't even want to be near you.
Yeah,
That
it's kind of.
so words don't live in that place. If you really make me angry, if I really have hate towards someone, the only thing that'll be between me and them is a lack of words.
I
So
see, yeah, yeah.
for me, words are never insulting because words are a bridge between one person and another. You know, and people can disagree. There's nothing wrong with people disagreeing. I think that's the danger of the internet now, is we thought the internet was going to give us the truth, and it doesn't.
Mm.
Instead, it gives us evidence for my version of the truth, whatever I want to believe. So people aren't looking for truth, they're looking for evidence online.
Yeah.
And you know, so all we can be this the whole world is so divided nowadays because of politicians. So the only thing we can do as comedians is be like, hey, I'm like I'm like a stripper but with feelings. And maybe if I can be an emotional nudist, it might inspire you to try being a little bit more nude too.
I
Maybe.
love this idea. It's definitely true. Like the way we communicate. Talking with some friends in the music business, not just related to work, but in general interaction. Being able to be on tour. As you can see after the show, you also have some people coming to you and have a chit chat a little bit, and it's the way you communicate. It could be with your family, with your friends.
100%.
And
Yeah.
now, yeah, we live on shorts, on reels that
Mhm.
what is 30 seconds, 20 seconds sometimes. Yeah, you got this news, flash news, where you don't get the whole pictures or really things are simplified, and that's going back to the show of Chappelle. The, was from the beginning till the end. You need to watch the other thing. Of course, you can cut that jokes, but
Yeah.
then you don't have the context,
Yeah.
and and I was listening to the podcast of Andrew Schultz,
Mhm.
and there was some episodes that were really interesting. Then he jumped on on the political wagon, and he got lost me there because I thought why you should focus on that being beside being a very good comedian, and but in they were talking about the fact that what does it mean communicate to the audience being there, and it makes some points I think, and even with musicians we got the same reactions, you know. I was watching this morning a short documentary about this metal band from Russia, but now from America right now, Slaughter to Prevail. Musically talented, aggressive. Is metal. Is a new school of metal. Can't deny that. Behind that, when you go into deep into the band, there is some shady things that
Mm.
I don't even know if it's the truth because I never talked with this person, you know.
Sure.
And so this is also context, you know. You see how people react just for what they see, and then even when they're going to see a stand-up comedian show, a moment where you should say, "Okay, I know where I'm going. I can relax. I can enjoy the moment. I can have a laugh without feeling judged or like just like this. It's good." I think that it's positive it's a very positive experience because kind of learning something or relearning something, you know.
Yeah.
about where you are, being in an environment that you don't know, but just being yourself and enjoying the moment. So
Yeah.
let's say I can see that as a kind of a therapeutic way to deal with the
Yeah.
society of nowadays.
Oh, 100%. I think it's really funny because I used to think to myself with music, I go, it's really like the first time I hear a song, no matter how good the song is, it's never as good as the time when I can sing along.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I
Yes.
was like, and I always wondered, like, why? Why? Because with everything else, the first time is the best time. And then it kind of fades over time. But with music, it's like after you know the words too. And I think it's because when you know the words too, or you see your life reflected in the song, it makes you feel like you're a part of it now.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, that's what we are. We're communal animals. Like the acting coach Stanislavski used to say, that which is most personal is most universal. And I think that's something that like all forms of storytelling have in common. If you're willing to be an emotional nudist and tell the truth, the artistic part is when someone else goes, "Oh my God, I'm not alone."
Mm-hmm.
I I feel that way too. And I I think that's the greatest connection with the audience is not even necessarily when someone says that's so funny, but when someone laughs and then goes, "Oh my God, that's so true." Meaning he made me look at something that I've always looked at in a new way, and that to me is like the ultimate, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's music or comedy or film or whatever.
Yeah. And how do you feel doing your acting in Berlin, your shows in Berlin? Because this city is in Europe after I guess after the wall when they destroyed the Berlin walls, Berlin became like a symbol in Europe.
I think
Still
so.
one, of course. And do you feel that energy in that city?
Oh man, big time.
Big time.
Big time. Especially as an American watching America turn into a dictatorship.
Okay.
It's a fascist nation now. There's no more, oh, we'll see what happens. No, we know what's happening. We have a pedophile, sex trafficking president who is getting literally, what more evidence do you need? Do you know what I mean? Like,
No, I mean
give me a
just
break.
the things about the pictures were just eloquent, they just
Oh,
speak for themselves.
ridiculous. It's really it's so obvious. Like it's just like it's insane. Like the White House accepts pedophiles when even prisons won't accept a pedophile
Yeah.
moving. You know what I mean? So like, but for me to be here,
Hmm.
I used to have this. I was joking with my friend, and he said, "Man, I can't believe you moved from America to Berlin to get away from Nazis." And I'm like, listen, I know it's a joke. But I think Berlin is one of the last places Nazis feel comfortable
Yeah.
because like people here are unapologetically anti-Nazi and we're not quiet about it. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like people always say Americans are loud, but when it comes to racism, Berliners are louder.
Hmm.
There's scars all over the streets. You could still see bullet holes
Yeah, you
in.
see these parks. I was walking between projects and you see this small park. I tell for the audience that they maybe never
Wurlitzer
been to
Park.
Berlin. You got these huge parks. It's not that it is that the city decided to build this park. This is where before there were buildings, and after the Second World War, there were everything erased. So they rebuilt the city just in some part they just stood like empty, and
Yeah,
it's crazy when you're there sometimes to see all these hoods where you got houses and then these huge plains flat
yeah,
now green, but yeah, it's not a urbanistic choice. Honestly, it's an heritage of what happened in that art period.
exactly. And scars matter. I have them on my body, and I remember every single one. Like somebody said this, I used to hear this thing a lot. They said if I was going to babysit a kid, and if there's two kids that I'm babysitting, and they're in the kitchen and the stove is on, and I tell the kid, hey, don't touch the fire because it's going to hurt you. And then and then the kid just like looks at me and I hope he understands what I'm saying. And then there's another kid who I say, don't touch the fire. And then he holds up his arm and shows me where he's been burned before. I trust that kid.
Hmm.
I know that kid's not going to burn himself again because
Yeah.
he has that scar. The kid who doesn't have that scar, that you're telling them, don't touch that fire. That's America. That's America. A kid without a scar saying, "Oh, we know what we're doing." No, you don't. America has an is a penis without pubes. It is a baby country. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. And right now, we are watching practically live streamed a democracy becoming a fascist dictatorship.
Yeah,
Crazy.
growing up in the north of Italy, south of Switzerland, north of Italy, let's say it's an imaginary border, but yeah, same culture, same languages, and I saw growing up what does it mean fascism for them because the heritage of Mussolini is still living. It is because Italy um, didn't deal with that topics as Germany did after the Second War. So there is a huge fold in between who were the partigiani, who were the fascists, and for so many people, fascists still the good guys
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
even for stand-up Italian stand-up comedians, I know that they go a lot of on that jokes and making people think, and they got a lot of shitstorm online. They are really in when you touch the topic about fascism, uh, you started the so-called cancel effect because they're really bombarded of comments, and maybe most of them are trolls. I don't know, but
For sure. Yeah, it opens up a big.
but it's interesting to see, how people still thinks that situation was really good. But
Yeah.
as you said, they never been there. They never touched the fire.
Yeah.
So
They don't know what
they don't know.
they're playing a very dangerous game. And and for me, I'm not a political person because I realize each party manipulates you in different ways, you know?
Yeah.
One party wants to go back to the past, another party wants to fast forward to the future, and the rest of us live in the present. And we're like, neither of you are are servicing us. You're
Hmm.
taking our tax dollars, and people are having less and less and less. We're getting taxed more and more and more, and we have less and less and less. Not to make this a political conversation, but I think that's what I love about Berlin. Berlin is a kid with scars,
Hmm.
and and those have always been my favorite people. The
Hmm.
people that have been through some shit.
Yeah.
Because people that have been through some shit know how to appreciate life. And that's how I feel about Berlin. Berlin is like a ugly girl with a great personality. You
Hmm.
know? Like you get to Berlin, you're like, this she's no Paris, but she's got great personality and I love her. You know?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know?
I honestly, I start visiting Berlin just in 2000. Wait, we are 2024 was my first time in Berlin because of my job. Before, I never had the chance. I've been to Paris, I've been to London, different cities, but Berlin never. And after that, I just came like I'm on 4 or 5 times a year. And every time there is something new to discover. I got many friends from America living there because maybe their parents, they worked for the US Army in the base in Ramstein or in others, and they stay there. Now our family is living there. So even that interaction is very interesting, and it happened just it happened just in Berlin for me to meet people very interesting or with an interesting background, I noticed Switzerland also have some cities that in the late 90s try to emulate this Berlin lifestyle, even with
Yeah.
music, sadly also with drugs and culture and everything.
Yeah.
But I think that Berlin, yeah, it vibrates as a unique
Oh,
star,
100%.
definitely.
It reminds me of New York, but with less fear of violence.
Hmm.
So for me, it's like, as a New Yorker, because it's all contextual, right? Like I know some people come to Berlin and think it's wild. I personally came to Berlin and I'm like, oh, it's so calm. You know what I mean? Coming from a place as wacky as New York. So, but yeah, I like it. I think it's a special place. I think it's a really creative place. I think because of the artist visa, there's a lot of artists that you mix with and collaborate with. And I'm
Hmm.
definitely in the time in my comedy where like uh I'm having fun. You know what I mean? Like I think there's a period of learning the rules before you break the rules. And,
Hmm.
and I'm in the breaking the rules part now, where I'm not reading sheet music anymore. I'm improvising now. You know,
Nah, nice.
and so it's like the direction of my comedy. It's an exciting time for me with comedy, not just because I like what I'm writing better than anything I've ever written, but also because I'm in a place where I'm new. So I have the brain of an adult, but the eyes of a child.
Oh
And
yeah, I
that's
know what you mean. Yeah.
the greatest combination. Tyler, the creator, said that. He goes, create like a child and edit like a scientist. And I think when you're an immigrant, or I'm not going to say expat because I think that's bullshit. When you're an immigrant, you have this special power because you can see a country with a more accurate mirror than someone who was born there.
I got into this too because it's 2 years that I'm really freelancing full time, and it's not easy
Yeah.
because different dynamics of society really you notice, and talking with colleagues and friends, you see we are all almost in the same situations. Um, but this last year and the beginning of this one, I've been, for example, to Spain for work, and I had the chance to live the cities, different cities, Barcelona, Madrid, Sevilla,
Iceland,
Valencia.
Barcelona too.
And you know what? I discovered that at 39, I can be ready to move, and it's not just a practical thing because Switzerland is a wonderful country, but it's way, way, way too expensive. And
Sure.
you realize that you can live a good life, an healthy life, even without having the Swiss standards. And this is me, an Indian boy, grow up in Switzerland, realizing that, yeah, I'm proud of being Swiss. I know we have our standards, but you notice when you start traveling abroad, you start seeing what's reality is out there.
Sure.
And now I'm
Sure.
I'm feeling ready to move, or like to start something new. And this connect a lot with what you're saying. Uh, Having this experience, now I know what I'm looking for, or what I need to check it out, or for myself and for my
Sure.
profession, for example. And at the same time, I've got this excitement of being there, like as you said, being new. And I've been a couple of days in Valencia, having the chance to talk with people in general, but as a colleague, so they help me a little bit to connect with my job. And it was such a good feelings, because and I also understood why some people may have fear of that, or is it because it's kind of jumping into darkness, like starting
Sure.
being freelance. I got some friends coming to me and tapping on my shoulder and say, "Oh my God, you have been so how can I say, some kind of, oh, you take this leap. You did it."
Easily.
And I said, yeah, because I witnessed a situation that pushed me really so much against the wall. And I say, I love my job, that I need to change something. And I'm the only one who can really act and
Yeah.
taking action and change something. And now I'm feeling this feeling again. The whole mindset changed. And I always advise this to many young musicians that comes to me and say, hey, how did you get in that? How would you react to that? How should I manage this and that? I say, try, 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 but also trust
Exactly.
also what you feel as a person, because it's not because your parent will say you need to spare money for your future for buy a house, that if you can't do this right now because life asks something else, uh, keep going on your way. And this is the most important thing. And it's very interesting that you find that in Berlin. I think it's amazing. I'm seeing that you're wearing a Fugazi t-shirt, and of course, this is
Yeah.
a music grounded podcast. And I want to say, what kind of music do you like? Because I saw that you got to have some Suicidal Tendencies merch. Sometimes Suicidal is one of my favorite bands ever. So I'm very curious to
Me
see
too.
what kind of music you listen to, and how much music influence also your comedy.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a funny thing. When I was a kid in America, like when we first got there, I got bit by a dog in the face. Like,
Oh,
see the scar right there?
yeah.
And he bit me like this. And when I pulled away, his tooth cut open my eyelid.
Oh my
Like that's how
God.
close I was to losing my eye. So I had to wear an eye patch in
Hmm.
America, and the kids made fun of me and called me a pirate and all this stuff. So I don't know why this happened. sometimes when you're picked on for, it makes you interested in the thing they're calling you. So they called me a pirate, so I started reading books about pirates. And and then when I finished reading the children's books, I started reading the adult books, which was the reality, truth behind pirates. And I realized that the reason why they had hook hands and peg legs is because they were war veterans. And they fought for England to protect the country. And they came back looking like that because they were heroes, you know? And then I found out that a lot of the criminal energy they added to pirates was bullshit. It was Hollywood bullshit.
Hmm.
But the reality is that pirates had laws and they were moral, and a lot of them were actually really good people, that should have been thought of as heroes in a lot of ways instead of villains. And so I connected with that as a kid because I was an immigrant. I'm like, oh, I'm like them because people think I'm bad, but I'm not bad. And people think these negative things about me, but they don't know the truth. And so for the first time in my life as a child, when I'd watch Cops and Robbers, I started voting for the robbers. And when I started watching Cowboys and Indians, I started voting for the Indians
Hmm.
because going, no, society does this to us. And I started feeling that way. And that's when I first started listening to punk rock. And the first time I heard Sex Pistols, I think was the first album for me. And then Suicidal Tendencies and Sam Hain, Danzig, TSOL, just like I started getting into heavy 7 Seconds,
Oh
the
yeah,
Journey,
man.
like really heavy punk. And I loved it because it feels weird to say now that everything I thought about the world when I was 13 is I've gone back to going, oh my God, I was right.
Hmm.
You
Okay, I
know,
see.
decades later, I'm like, I had it figured out when I was 13. Like I totally almost like on the way a dog understands something. Like it was in my DNA to
Hmm.
understand to rage against systems,
Yeah.
you know? So yeah, that's what drew me to punk rock and it kind of I think it informs my comedy too in a big way. It's
Hmm.
definitely
I see. I see.
a lot of comedy is fun. Dead Kennedys and stuff like that. I even ended up one of the coolest things for me, like after I became a comedian, I became friends with DH Peligro,
Okay.
who unfortunately passed away years ago, but he was the drummer for the Dead Kennedys. And he saw me do comedy, and then we ended up in a pilot for a Netflix show together called Planet Earth, where like he played a drug addict that was abducted by aliens, and or a recovering drug addict that was abducted by aliens, and I was his sponsor, but everybody thought he was back on drugs. And that's why he thought he was abducted. And that was the premise of the show. But then he passed away a couple years ago. But I remember thinking like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm friends with this guy who was a hero of mine when I was like 14, 15 years old. And now we go and eat tacos together. It was
Oh,
amazing.
it's an amazing feeling, you know. By the way, I think that now that we're talking about this, I think the first person I saw doing some kind of show that I will say stand up, but I don't know if I can consider that as a comedian, but it was Henry Rollins doing promoting his
Oh
books
yeah.
and everything. I think
Spoken word.
yeah,
He's
so I
great.
think it was the first person on stage talking, you know, with the microphone and doing not just a conference, it was a lot of things, and then his way to be so theatrical. I love that, and
Yeah.
I know what you mean about knowing your heroes. Like I did an interviews for the podcast with a band called Amartya, and they were one of my favorite band when I was a teenager. And years later, now
Wow.
they're doing like a kind of comeback, 23 years later, and. Uh, Thanks to connection between music and podcast and the straight edge, I got connected with the guys and we did an episode together. And he told this person that, oh my God, for me, it's kind of it's so unreal moment right now because I'm talking to the person
Yeah.
who recorded one of the album that at that time gave me a direction, what kind of music I like,
That's
and a lot of
beautiful.
feelings.
That's
And
beautiful.
that brings a lot into life, you know. It's
Yeah, man. Those are the memories that you have to hang on your wall,
yes.
on the wall inside your head. Because like I think there's so many times like we as human beings like just go, what's next? What's next? What's next? And it's like, man, that's what it's all about. I'd rather have that than a Netflix special. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like to to feel like, wow, I've come a long way. and to be able to, it's almost like we're running a marathon when we're pursuing creative careers. And if you don't stop and drink water, you're going to get cramps. You're not going to make it.
Hmm.
So you have to appreciate those moments. Like I remember one time in LA, we used to go to the Netflix offices on New Year's Eve, and there was a guy who ran a conference for creative people. And it was such an interesting exercise. He goes, "Okay, how do you guys feel about your accomplishments this year? How did you do?" And everyone was pretty much, yeah, I wish I could have done more, and I wish I was more successful. I wish I achieved this goal or that goal. I didn't achieve it. Almost everyone in the room was the same way. And I want you guys to open up computers and go through your calendars and day by day write down everything that you actually did.
Hmm.
And dude, by the time I got to March, I was like, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
As creative people, we do so much more than we think we do. And we don't stop to appreciate how hard we work, first of all, and how important moments like that are. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? That's our water. That's how we keep going. So, man, that lesson in those offices, I mean, by the time I got to March, I I was mad at myself for being so mean to myself.
I know what you
Like,
mean. Being freelance, you got the same feelings because sometimes you have really less project and but then you watch how my year started, what I deal to nowadays, even if the art is 2 months where you got less, but when you were busy, I mean, I tour Europe, I connect with these people, I
that's
got a
huge.
contact with these and this. It's all things that you don't see sometimes the result in 2 weeks. That's the problem. It happens to me even 1 years later, people connect with me and they propose you very good connection or project and everything. But it's hard to accept that this is the timing.
Yeah,
They always,
yeah,
of course, there are all these phrases, trust the process, things happen when they have to happen, but those are
yeah,
words, you know. But it's like
yeah.
this. We just need to trust it that really a little bit more because this is life, it's all things. I think that the real challenge, and this is a message go out to all the listeners or maybe young musicians or to trying to find their own place, just keep keep doing something because it's like moving. The big loss is when you start not doing anything, to just having a
100%.
full stop and hoping
Shit.
and waiting that things gonna rain on you. And
Yeah. Make
this
shit.
is
Make shit. That's what we do. Make shit.
yeah,
You
right?
know, you gotta make shit. I'm happy when I'm making shit. If I'm going through a funk and I'm depressed, I go, oh yeah, I didn't make shit. You know what I mean? It's
Yes.
like we consume so much. Every time I consume but don't create, I get sad. And
Mm.
it's like, I think that's the way it is for anybody that is lucky enough to have the creative itch. Like if you are lucky enough to desire creativity, then you gotta feed it. What's that
Hmm.
old saying? It's like it's almost like a gift from God to be creative, but it's your gift back to God to use it.
All right. Yes.
You got to use it, whatever God means. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I get it. I get it. It can be a little bit
From a
more
mushroom
more
to Moses.
spirituals. Yeah, that something that I ask myself because working behind the scene, you are there with the musician till the moment they go on stage, and you can feel if somebody's nervous, if somebody's just go for that. Like, and I want to ask when you go on stage. Now it has become something like, okay, I'm feeling comfortable with that, or still something like that. You got this kind of feelings. Oh my God, now it's the time. Like,
Yeah, no, man, I get nervous all the time. All the time. But I push myself all the time.
hmm.
You know, like, I did Wembley Arena with my friend Jimmy O Yang, and it
Hmm.
was like 12,500 people, just gigantic audience. And maybe 2 years before, I think the biggest audience I did was like 3,000. And then this year I did 8,000, 10,000, 12,500.
Whoa.
And then I get back to Berlin and I'm like, oh yeah, this is just feels really easy now. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to try performing in German. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, there it is. Now I'm nervous again.
Hmm.
If you're not nervous, you're not pushing. You've
Yeah.
got to. I like pushing. I like failing. It's one of my favorite things about comedy is they always say comedy's not in the writing, it's in the rewriting,
Okay.
which innately teaches you that you will fail. Nothing the first time you say a joke is never going to be the perfect joke. Look how
Hmm.
hard it is for AI. AI can't do it. You know what I mean? AI still can't write good jokes. And even when it does, there's nothing like the live experience.
Yeah.
AI ain't us,
I
you
love
know?
that. I love that because sometimes I'm here at home, I do my podcast, I do my bureaucracy, I take care of my place, I see my friends, and then come to that moment where I'm missing being on the road. And when I go on the train to go to Germany for the first concert or to meet my colleagues, I say, yes, this is why I'm doing that. I'm feeling it's like starting a machine again and again and again, and then you realize that's what I'm doing for living. And it's an amazing feeling. As I said, as we were talking before, sometimes there are insecurities because you don't know I'm doing enough or like this. Uh, but no, when you got this feeling, sometimes I just have to go on stage and change, some positions, putting some stands or like moving the pianos in front of the audience, and in that moment, you did it so many times that you know the music is not a problem, but you're still always feeling, oh my God, now. But now, as you said, this pushing thing, I
Yeah.
felt that so much in the last months, really, because I'm trying to evaluate what I'm doing or how I'm promoting myself. And I said, I
Yeah.
need this experience, so I go for it. And I notice I'm very nervous, but then you are there, you touch something. I think that one of the best tricks is also touching something near to you, just like to realize I'm here, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then and,
Yeah.
and then you just do it, and it's an amazing feeling. And
Yeah, nerves aren't bad. Nerves
yeah.
aren't bad.
Uh,
Makes you more aware. It makes
yes,
you
right.
hyper aware of what's happening. So it's like, I just like, for me, it's just like my breathing, I just can, I'm usually in a really chilled out state before I go on stage. And yeah, then but I'll tell you another connection between comedy and music is like, Jimmy Carr, right,
Hmm.
used to say that the perfect pacing and rhythm for comedy is 98 beats per minute. And so I will literally sit in a green room. I'll go on Spotify and I'll find 98 beats per minute hip hop, 98 beats per minute, whatever. And they have playlists on Spotify that you can categorize that way. And like Queen, We Are the Champions, for example, is 98 beats per minute. And I'll put that rhythm in my head, and then when I go on stage, even if I'm nervous, the only time nerves is bad for me if it changes my pacing, my
Hmm.
rhythm, my
Yeah.
musicality. So by having that rhythm in my head, and then I'm about to go on stage, I take the headphones off, the rhythm is already in my body. Now it's in my body. And then I'm like, and now all of a sudden, because my rhythm is there, my breathing goes down to match the rhythm. And once my breathing goes down, the nerves are gone.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, when I was teenager, I played drum in a punk rock band in the South, and I
Oh,
remember,
wow.
the intro starts, and the drummer has to be one of the first one being on stage, sometimes on their own. And I remember
Yeah.
everything's feeling like I have to puke, like
Yeah.
it's all in the breathing. And then I remember
Sure.
this moment, the intro stopped, the guys go on stage, you go the four on the hi-hat, and then you start playing and suddenly all this sensation disappear. You're like, oh, and now
It's
I'm happy
wild.
because I have this tension, but it's not so convulsive, it's not so present. But I just break, I just make one step on stage, and that's it. Here we are, and you
Yeah.
do what you have to do. And I know this is kind of experience that I want to tell on this podcast, because it's these things that nobody tells you at school, or maybe some
Yeah.
people don't want to be so open to you because they think, so maybe it's seen as a something, like a weakness, or like this the kind of things about being emotional at the end, and everything. But it's that the moment that you need to take under control, to understand, and to adapt to your personality. And I noticed
Yeah.
on many I had the chance to work with some of amazing young soloists, and it's a couple of them that were really you have to do no noises, they're really focused, and others that just like you, we're joking, and the guy is just making some stupid jokes before going on stage. Like, really, should we laugh right now, really, before you go and you play like 20 minutes by heart, you know? And they say, yeah, it's okay, because I go with that with the flow. As you said, you got the flow of the beat. And this
Yeah.
person really, he knew what he was doing. He was there, he wanted to be there, and he was just
Yeah.
performing, and it was an amazing situation.
That's great.
Tell me, what's are the plan? Now we are in August. What's are the plan to the end of the year? You have a lot of gigs. There is the opportunity for you to see you around Europe or in Berlin or in the States.
I have a tour that starts in September,
Okay.
and it's called the Hummus Tacos Comedy Tour. And it's my first European tour where I'm doing it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go like Berlin, Hamburg, Frankfurt, Paris, uh, Lisbon, uh, London, Manchester, Vienna, Amsterdam, and Stockholm.
And Stockholm.
Got
Okay.
all 10. Yeah. So those we're going all around, and it ends on my birthday. So me and my lady are gonna take a holiday after that. But yeah, good stuff is happening. I'm on Dreisat, the
Yeah.
German TV channel. I
Yeah.
think they
Yeah.
might have in Switzerland as well. But
Yeah. Yeah.
they
We
they
got it.
did a
Yeah.
documentary on Awesome. So they're doing a documentary on stand-up comedy in Germany and how it's becoming part of the mainstream. And I'm one of the protagonists in the documentary. So that's
Cool.
coming out in September, like towards the end, September 27th. I think it'll come out on Dreisat,
Mm-hmm.
and touring. And I do a lot of collab videos with this guy, Radical Living, on YouTube.
Yeah.
And man, our videos are going crazy. So we've our last one did like 52 million views or something like that. And next week I'm going to go to the south of Germany. We're going to shoot some content together there, like a bunch of new videos, potentially with some GTA themes that I'm really excited about.
Nice.
And otherwise, that's it. Just gigging a bunch, learning German. Soon I'll be performing in German. Ich hoffe. And yeah, that's it. But that's the Hummus Tacos Comedy Tour is a great place to see me, or at Tamer Cat on Instagram is a great place to find everything. That's where everything's collected.
Yes, and all the information is gonna be written in the
Right
description
on.
links on the episode on YouTube and Spotify. As I said, I'm the audience of the Music to Live for with Shanti. Listen to Deezer, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube, of course. That's where the video version is gonna land. But I also know that many people on YouTube just click play and they listen to the podcast, and it's an amazing things because I noticed that the family is becoming slowly bigger and bigger and bigger, and I always think that this kind of episode I want to remember that this podcast is totally DIY. This is my punk thing in some ways. Like the logo is come from one of my best friends ever. There's also in the hardcore punk scene. Um, on YouTube there is like a small cartoon that opened the episode, and it's made from a good friends of mine from Italy.
Oh, that's cool.
It's all built with people that the vibe that I wanted to share,
Yeah,
and for me this
that's
is this,
beautiful.
this kind of connection. It's amazing. Um, and of course it's I'm glad if I can help artists in general to doing this episode, even if there's not well known as a podcast, but it's always like somebody Google your name, then it pop up also, and it's kind of
Sure.
one hand shake the others, and like it's I think it's always a cool way to connect to people. And I'm
Yeah,
really glad that we had the time to talk. I had
me
a
too,
couple
man.
of questions. I thought a lot. I always go with the flow when I do podcasting. But and yesterday evening I was thinking, I'm thinking, and then I said, being myself a fan of stand-up comedy, I said I'm feel blessed to have somebody like you, and
Oh,
because
thanks, man. That
as I
means a
said.
lot.
1 year ago was the time when I saw you live performing, and I had really a good feelings. It was very nice. I love your styles. I love your show. And I said I'm very thankful that could be part of this program. Thank you,
Thanks,
Tamer.
bro. Thanks for
As I
having me.
said,
Come to another show.
all the information, yeah, go to his show because all the information is gonna be in the link below. Uh, Thank you very much. Do you have
Sure,
a
buddy.
last message for the audience?
Yeah, you know what? We started talking about being an immigrant, right?
Yeah,
And I'll tell you, like, I said this to one of my friends the other day. I go, who's the smartest man in the world that everybody talks about? It was Socrates, right? Like, he was supposed to be the smartest man in the history of humanity. And
yeah.
the thing he's most famous for saying is, I'm not a Greek, I'm not an Athenian, I'm the citizen of the world. Man, and if all of us felt that way, that's where peace would come from. It's not from, yeah. So yeah, we're all citizens of the world. That's my last bizarro message from a mustachioed Egyptian that looks like a Mexican.
Oh man, I love it. Me gusta mucho, papi. Chale.
Órale.
Órale. Thank you very much, Tamer. Hope
Thank
to
you,
see you
bro.
soon on stage. Take care.
You too.
Music to live for with Shanti.